Hey everybody, welcome to Hockey Skate Down. Before you get into the video, I just want to say thank you to all my subscribers. If you want to join our hockey team, it's free. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell to all. Thank you all so much, and let's get started. So, with not too long to go where we're looking at the draft and free agency, I wanted to start doing videos about this because, there's a lot of options that the Devils can do with this upcoming year, what to do with, roster moves for the upcoming year. Tom Fitzgerald has mentioned that we're not coming in with the same team. There's a lot of moves to be made, and, one team I wanted to do a video on was the Dallas Stars. The Dallas Stars have extensions kicking into Mikko Rantanen and Wyatt Johnston for this upcoming year that are pretty pricey and may force the Dallas Stars to make some moves to be cap compliant. So, the Dallas Stars are a team that the Devils can look at. They have a lot of big-name free agents. They have a couple of players that are in trade rumors right now that are big names that can help out. So I wanted to talk about that in this video, so please stay with me throughout. So the Dallas Stars, they have a $12 million extension kicking in for Mikko Rantanen this upcoming year and an $8.4 million extension kicking in for Wyatt Johnston. That's $20.4 million just to these two players alone, where it's going to force the Dallas Stars' hand to make some decisions to make with their free agents, namely Jamie Benn, Matt Duchene, Evgeny Dadanov, and Mikael Granlund. Those are pretty big names that a lot of teams are going to be looking at. The Dallas Stars have said that they're trying to retain some of these players, but it's going to come to a decision where if other teams around the league are going to throw more money at them, are they going to take a bit of a haircut and a discount to stay with the Dallas Stars? So, looking first at Jamie Benn, he's been a long-time Dallas Star, 35 years old, center winger that can help out a lot of teams. Still had a very productive year, putting up 16 goals, 33 assists, 49 points, and he's coming off of his contract that paid him $9.5 million per year. So, Jamie Benn is a big player. He can score. He is up there at age. He's not what he used to be, but he still could get around the ice and still bang bodies and still put in those points. He can help out a lot of teams, but the thing is that he wants to stay with the Dallas Stars, and he's one of those players that's going to have to take a haircut because he's not going to be making $9.5 million to return with the Dallas Stars. So we'll see what happens with this. It's going to be a contract that's going to be a lot less if he signs with them or around the league. He may be given a bit more, but where is he going to want to go, or what's going to happen with him? So he's definitely one option that's out there. The next one I want to talk about is Matt Duchene. Matt Duchene is 34 years old, another center winger. This year, I think he was the best bargain signing. He signed for a $3 million contract, and he put up 82 points. He played all 82 games. He scored 30 goals, 52 assists for 82 points. Matt Duchene is a player that I would love to have on the Devils. He would fit perfectly in that third line C. You could slot him in at the wing. This kid still, kid now, he's an adult. But, he still can skate around out there. Not as fast as he used to be, at 34 years old, but he could still get around out there. He could still score. He's still got the wheels to pull it off. But, he again wants to stay with the team, but, what's going to happen with him? Maybe a lot of teams like Jamie Benn might give him a bit more to go elsewhere, where he wants to stay with Dallas, but, again, he's another player that's going to have to sign around the same amount to stay with them, where you're going to have other teams that are going to want to pay him because he was such a good producer for this past year. So, Matt Duchene is definitely one of those names to keep an eye out on. I think a lot of teams are going to target him. Question is, does he want to stay with the Dallas Stars, or does he want to take the money and go elsewhere? Evgeny Dadanov. Now, I think he's a player that I think the Dallas Stars are willing to move away from. 36 years old. He's a versatile winger that can play the left or the right side. This past year, played in 80 games, so had a very durable year. 20 goals, 20 assists, 40 points. Not bad for a bottom two-line winger. And he only made $2.25 million. So he's definitely a player that I could see the Devils maybe targeting for that third-line role. Maybe you bring him in to help out, bringing in Arsenii Gritsiuk. You have two fellow Russians kind of, helping each other out with the language, the culture, and getting accustomed to the league. So he'd be an interesting option that I think the Devils could look at. Not looking at that winger for Jack Hughes or Nico Hischier's line, but definitely one of those pieces to add on that third line. So he's an option out there. I know he's a bit older at 36 years old, but maybe he'll sign a one-year deal to do that. So we'll see what happens with that, but I could see the Dallas Stars walking away from a player like Dadonov to try to sign those other two that I mentioned beforehand. So keep an eye out on Dadonov. And Mikael Granlund. Mikael Granlund is the younger of all the four that I mentioned, 33 years old. Another center winger, versatile player. This year he put up 22 goals, 44 assists, 66 points, and made $5 million. So, he's a player that I think a lot of teams are going to really look at. Come the trade deadline, was traded from the Sharks to the Stars and performed really well, especially in the playoffs too. I think the Dallas Stars, the last time I saw this, are going to want to retain him, but him again, I think is going to be a player that a lot of teams are going to target. Just have that versatility where you have a center and a winger. He can produce with top line players. He can be a good depth center. So, he's definitely a player that I would like the Devils to target. I was bummed when he got traded because I know the Devils were going to make moves. I thought he could be a good addition for this past year, just to help out with depth with losing Jack Hughes. I thought he would be a perfect addition, and I still do. And I would not be upset if the Devils look to bring in Mikael Granlund. So he's definitely a player that a lot of teams will target. He can score. He can play make. He can play a good two-way game. So I think a lot of teams will look at him. Question is, will he want to stay with the Stars or move on to another team? And the trade talk is really picking up with Jason Robertson. Jason Robertson, 25 years old, still very young. He's in the last year of a 4-year deal that pays him $7.75 million. So still on a really good contract. But the thing is that he's going to be another player that on his next deal is going to make a lot more. So that's something to consider if you're making a big move to bring in Jason Robertson. But still, this guy can score at will. This year he played in 82 games, 35 goals, 45 assists, 80 points. So, Jason Robertson I would love to bring him into the Devils, but the thing is, how do you squeeze him in after, you're going to sign an extension with Luke Hughes, and, after that, you don't have a lot of room to play with. I know the cap space is going to go up. You're going to have a lot of teams that are going to be looking to make just these crazy moves this offseason. It's going to be a weird offseason, but a fun one for hockey fans. And I think Jason Robertson's name is going to be one of those players that a lot of teams are going to target. A lot of teams would love to add a 30, 40-plus goal scorer. But, the thing with this year, he wasn't consistent. There was a time gap from like October to January where he really wasn't producing too well. Then after Four Nations, he really picked it up, really was scoring at a torrid race. And then these playoffs kind of disappeared and fizzled out. So this is where, the Dallas Stars might look to recoup some, prospects and picks for him, just to get something to restock their pipeline while, also having some cap space to work with. So Jason Robertson is a name that is attracting a lot of interest. The past couple of, I'd say, last 2 weeks, his name's been out there. So keep an eye on him. If the Devils can add him, great. If they can find a way to make it work, man, can you picture a line with Robertson, Hughes, and Bratt? That, oh my God, just the thought of that would be insane. So I would love to see that. Question is, I don't see it working with our cap space for the next couple of years, but that's what these capologists get paid the big bucks for. But I would love Jason Robertson. I just don't see it happening. And the other player is Mason Marchment, 29 years old, another left wing center, so he can switch around. Big body, 6'5", 212. He's in the last year of a $4.5 million contract. He's the type of player that I think the Devils can look to trade with the Dallas Stars for. He played a full 82-game year, 22 goals, 25 assists, 47 points. So he's a player that can definitely slot in perfectly to, be a good piece down the line if you want to have him play third-line center. Be a good third-line piece to bang around bodies and try to put some points on the board. Well, he could also play with Jack Hughes and Jesper Bratt and be that protection type of player that they need. They need players that can score goals and also put up bang bodies and also put up protection for Hughes and Bratt and other players like Heischer and all the other ones. So I think Mason Marchment would be a good trade acquisition for the Devils. You know, his contract is really good. He's got his last year of $4.5 million, and at 30 years, I don't see it going too high on his next deal, where I think that'd be a good contract for the Devils to pick up for this upcoming year if they could squeeze it in. But, you know, looking at the Dallas Stars this upcoming year with the draft, they don't have a first-round pick. They don't have a second-round pick. They have 1 third-round pick. They have no fourth-round picks. They have 2 picks in the 5th round, 1 pick in the 6th round, and 1 pick in the 7th round. So with a team that's pressed up against the cap where they have to trade out some contracts, I think the Devils can pick up Mason Marchment for not a lot. You know, Jason Robertson would be a player that would cost the Devils some premium prospects and picks. So that comes into question what type of player you're looking to bring into this team. Is it more of a depth thing where you have to it's definitely the issue. We do need a top 6 player, but we also need depth players for those bottom 2 lines because we need depth. Depth was the biggest question with this team in the playoffs, and we saw it happen. So they need to definitely address that. They also need to bring in that top 6 scorer for Hughes and Bratt. So I'm curious to see what Tom Fitzgerald does, but the Dallas Stars are definitely one team that the New Jersey Devils should be looking at because they got a lot of free agents that the Devils can try to sign, and they also have a couple of really good players that they can add to this lineup if they're trading away just prospects and picks for them. So comment below. What do you think about the Dallas Stars being a trade partner with the New Jersey Devils? Or what do you think about the Devils picking up any of these other players that I mentioned as free agents when free agency opens? Comment below and let me know. Thank you all for watching. I really appreciate your time. Smash that like button if you haven't done so, and subscribe to the Hockey Skate Down. It's free, and join our hockey team. Thank you all so much. Have a great rest of the day. Have a great night. Take it easy. Stay safe.